dynasty of southern India. Today we are going to study regarding one of the important dynasties of southern India. So you already have been learned in your previous classes in your 6th standard or in the 7th standard. You already have been learned regarding that dynasty. So today we are going to study regarding one of the important dynasties of southern India. That is none other than the Vijayanagara. Right on. None other than the Vijayanagara. Vijayanagara. That is another than the Vijayanagara. So already you are knowing somewhat, means I think in the 6th standard you have been learned, 6th or 7th you have been learned regarding the Vijayanagara dynasty. Means you are knowing who is the greatest ruler of that particular dynasty. Each and everything you are knowing. So but this dynasty is one of the important dynasties of southern India during those days. Why it was one of the important dynasties of southern India? We will study today. So here the establishment of Vijayanagara Empire is a landmark in the Indian history. The establishment of the Vijayanagara Empire is one of the landmark in the Indian history. Why it is been called as the landmark in the Indian history? So here the South Indian dynasties, the famous South Indian dynasties during the 11th century, 12th century, that is the famous South Indian dynasties like Yadavas of Devagiri, Yadavas of Devagiri, Kakatiyas of Warangal, Pandyas of Madurai, Hoysalas of Dwarasamudra, Cholas of Tanjavur were the important dynasty. These all were the important dynasty. All these dynasties became the victims of Alauddin Khilji. All these dynasties became the victims of Alauddin Khilji. While studying about the Delhi Sultanate, especially while studying about the Alauddin Khilji. While studying about the Alauddin Khilji, he is one of the able commander, Malik Kafur, plundered the South Indian dynasties and took the vast amount of wealth towards the Delhi ambition. Same thing. That is the incident which just plundered the South Indian dynasties. So the important dynasties during those days: Kakatiyas of Warangal, Yadavas of Devagiri, next Pandyas of Madurai, Hoysalas of Dwarasamudra, and the Cholas of Tanjavur. So these were the South Indian dynasties which were the victims of Alauddin Khilji. So these dynasties were being plundered by the Alauddin Khilji, the important dynasties. So here, as the result of this victim or the result of this incident, so there was a disturbance in the South India. So what type of disturbance? Political instability, lawlessness, fear, religious disturbance, religious tremoli or religious disturbance prevailed everywhere. At that time, under these circumstances, already from the North India, Delhi Sultanate, they wanted to expand their empire and they have been just plundering the southern and South Indian dynasties. And there is a complete chaos in the South India. And in these circumstances, savior of the Hindu religion, for the savior of the Hindu culture, tradition, etc., Vijayanagara Empire was been established. So Vijayanagara Empire was been established. So this dynasty, Vijayanagara Empire, this dynasty ruled for 3 centuries. So in the 15th century, this dynasty spread towards the Indian Ocean, from Indian Ocean to Bay of Bengal to Arabian Sea. Complete South India was under the South India and Deccan. Some of the Deccan parts to the Maharashtra, Deccan parts was under the control of the Vijayanagara Empire. And with the Sag Vidyaranya, he is the main person who encouraged Hakka and Bukka to establish the empire on the banks of the river Tungabhadra. So Hakka and Bukka established the Hakka and Bukka established the dynasty in the on the banks of the river in which year? In 1336. In 1336 AD. Hampi has their capital. Hampi has their capital. So now before going to the Hampi has their capital. So Hampi has their capital. So Sag Vidyarana played a very important role in establishing the Vijayanagara Empire. Sag Vidyarana played a very important role in establishing the Vijayanagara Empire. And here Hakka and Bukka established the Vijayanagara Empire on the banks of the river Tungabhadra. On the banks of the river Tungabhadra. Hampi as their capital. So later Hampi became the capital of the Vijayanagara. So Vijayanagara kingdom has to face the resistance. Means a continuous resistance. They were having the frequent fight between the Gajapatis of Orissa, Delhi Sultanate, and their rival Bahmani Sultan in the Deccan. So frequently they have to wage war against these kingdoms. So now going further, which were the dynasties? Which were the South Indian dynasties which were victims of the Alauddin Khilji? So question may come for 2 marks. Name the dynasties which were the victims of the Alauddin Khilji. So just message me in the chat. So it's a question for you. Name the dynasties which were the victims of the Alauddin Khilji. Name the South Indian dynasties which were the victims of the Alauddin Khilji. Yadavs of Devagiri, yes. Yadavs of Devagiri 1. Yadavs of Devagiri. Next. Even the others are there. Yadavs of Devagiri. So totally 5 dynasties are there. 5 kingdoms are there. Pandyas of Madurai, Kakatiyas of Warangal. Yes, Kakatiyas of Warangal. Next. Cholas of Tanjore. Hoysals of Dwarasamudra. Yes, these are the dynasties which were the victims of the Alauddin Khilji. So question right on the question. So it's a homework question. Name the dynasties which are the victims of the Alauddin Khilji. So it's a homework. Name the dynasties which are the victims of the Alauddin Khilji. So now before going to the next concept, I'll just show some images. So you can see the Vijayanagara Empire. So here you can see the great Hindu kingdom, Vijayanagara, from 1336 to 1646. So I have been said, for the savior of the Hindu religion, Hindu culture, Hindu tradition. So this dynasty was been established by the Sag Vidyaranya. It is there. So you can see the royal and the reasons for the establishment of the Vijayanagara Empire: safety of Hindus, political instability in the South India. Why this dynasty was been established? So sources: inscription, literary documents, coins, architecture. So Sultan Alauddin Khilji. So he is the Alauddin Khilji who has been destroyed some of the South Indian dynasties. So Yadavs of Devagiri, Kakatiyas of Warangal, Hoysalas of Dwarasamudra. So these are some important dynasties which have been. You can see there some of the art. So next we'll move towards the Vijayanagara Empire. The 4 dynasties which ruled over the Vijayanagara Empire. You can see there the 4 dynasties. So which are there? Read on. The 4 dynasties which ruled over the Vijayanagara Empire. Sangama, Salva, Tuluva, Arabidu. So these are the four dynasties which are the four dynasties which ruled over the Vijayanagara Empire. Sangama, Salva, Tuluva, Arabidu. So these are the four dynasties which ruled over the Vijayanagara Empire. Even this question may come. Right now, let's ask the homework. Name the dynasties which ruled over the Vijayanagara Empire. Name the dynasties which ruled over the Vijayanagara Empire. So which are the dynasties? Sangama, Salva, Tuluva, Arabidu. These are the four dynasties which ruled over the Vijayanagara Empire. Those are famous dynasties which ruled over the Vijayanagara. Question may come for the even for the examination. Name the dynasties which ruled over the Vijayanagara Empire. So which are the dynasties? Just present me in the chat. Which are the dynasties? Salva, Tuluva, Arabidu dynasty. So first comes the Sangama dynasty. Which dynasty? First comes the Sangama dynasty from 1336 to 1485. 1336 to 1485, Sangama dynasty. To 14 dynasty. So these were the dynasties, which are the four dynasties which ruled over the Vijayanagara Empire. So Lakshmesh.
Eyeliner angels under to sir.
Lakshmesh. Rachita.
Yes, sir.
Rachita.
Yes, sir.
So which are the dynasties which ruled over the Vijayanagara Empire?
Sangama dynasty, Saluva dynasty, Tuluva dynasty, Aravidu dynasty.
Aravidu dynasty, yes, very good. So these are the four dynasties which ruled over the Vijayanagara Empire. Lakshmesh. So Vaishnavi.
Yes, sir.
So what are the images I am sharing? It's been clear now?
Sir.
Just now I have been shared some four images I have been shared. So those images have been clear now?
Sir.
So it's visible. It is clearly it's visible.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Okay. Shreya?
Yes, sir.
So which are the dynasties which ruled over Vijayanagara Empire?
Sangama dynasty, Saluva dynasty, Tuluva dynasty, and Aravidu dynasty.
Aravidu dynasty. So these are the four dynasties which ruled over the Vijayanagara Empire. Manish. Chalmai Chaudhary.
Yes, sir.
So which are the dynasties which are the victims of the Alauddin Khilji?
The Yadavas of Devagiri, Kathatiyas of Warangal, Pandyas of Madurai, Hoysalas of Dwarasamudra.
Hoysalas of Dwarasamudra. Yes. Yes. So the dynasties which ruled over the Vijayanagara Empire. The dynasties which ruled over the Vijayanagara. So dynasties. The Sangama, Salva, Tuluva, and Aravidu dynasty. Four dynasties which ruled over the Vijayanagara Empire. The famous kings. The first is the Sangama dynasty. Which dynasty? Sangama dynasty. The famous kings of the Sangama dynasty. Just listen to me. The famous kings of the Sangama dynasty. So, Sangama dynasty ruled from 1336 to 1486. And the famous kings of the Sangama dynasty were Haryana first, Bukkaraya, Haryana second, and Prouda Devaraya. So Prouda Devaraya, he was been also called as the Devaraya second also. So these are the famous rulers of the Sangama dynasty. Haryana first, Bukkaraya, Haryana second, Prouda Devaraya. So Prouda Devaraya was also called as the Devaraya second. So Haryana led the foundation for the Vijayanagara Empire and developed the capital. Haryana first led the Haryana and Bukka, they led the foundation for the Vijayanagara Empire and developed the capital of the capital of Hampi, so which was in the hill rocks between the hills, so that they have been developed as the capital. So after Haryana, Bukkaraya came to the power. So Bukkaraya, just listen to me. Bukkaraya defeated the Reddys of Pandavidu and merged the Penagonda area with Vijayanagara. And Bukka was successful in solving the religious war. Between the Jains and the Sri Vaishnavas. So there was a religious disturbance between the Jains and the Sri Vaishnavas. So that was been solved by the Bukkaraya. And they upheld the religious harmony. And next, the fact in revealed in one of the inscription in Shravanabedaga. So that fact that the Bukkaraya has solved the disturbance between the Jains and the Sri Vaishnavas. So that has been enacted in the one of the inscriptions in the Shravanabedaga. And he constructed forts, few temples in the capital and encouraged the agriculture activities. So Bukkaraya, he constructed the forts, temples, and he also encouraged and gave encouragement for the agricultural activities. So Bukkaraya sent ambassador to the court of the Chinese king. So Bukkaraya sent an ambassador from Vijayanagara to the Chinese empire. So at that time in China, Ming dynasty was ruling. Which dynasty? Ming dynasty. No. So Ming dynasty was ruling. So Ming dynasty was ruling. So Ming dynasty. So Bukkaraya has sent an ambassador to the Ming dynasty. To the court of the Chinese king. Chinese king belonged to the Ming dynasty. Yes, it says that they had a relationship with the other countries. So Bukka's son Kampanna, Bukkaraya's son Kampanna defeated the Sultan of Madurai, and enlarged, means extended the kingdom. So this victory is been marked. Bukka's son Kampanna defeated the Madurai king and extended the empire. So the victory of Kampanna, it has been written in Madura Vijayam. So this has been written by the Madura Vijayam by Ganga Devi. So Ganga Devi, the wife of Kampanna. Ganga Devi is none other than the wife of Kampanna. So Kampanna defeated the Madurai Sultan. So this victory has been marked, or it has been written as Madura Vijayam by Ganga Devi. So after Bukkaraya, it was Haryana II who came to the power. After Bukkaraya, Haryana II who came to the power. Just listen to me. Haryana II who came to the power. Haryana ruled for 27 years. He ruled for 27. So Bukkaraya's son Haryana II ruled for 27 years. So he extended the empire and took control over Kondavidu, Karnoor, Nellore forts. At the time of the death of Bahamani Sultan Mujahid, Haryana expanded his kingdom. So, when the Bahamani Sultan Mujahid died, so seeking the situation, he extended the empire. Seeking situation, he extended the empire. So here, from Goa to Konkan coast, and he occupied the fort of Pangal, laying in the north of the Krishna River, in 1398. Means here, Haryana II, he extended the empire. Haryana II extended the empire in all the direction. So after Haryana II, here comes the important ruler of the Sangama dynasty. After Haryana II, here comes the important ruler of the Sangama dynasty. So he has been called as Devaraya II. Devaraya II. So earlier he Prouda Devaraya. So he has been called as Prouda Devaraya, and he has been also called as Devaraya II. He has been also called as the Devaraya II. Prouda Devaraya is been also called as Devaraya II. So the most famous king of the Sangama dynasty, Devaraya II. So here, the most famous king of the Sangama dynasty was Devaraya II or Devaraya II. He had earned a title. So Sangama dynasty. So this particular Devaraya II, he has earned a title, Elephant Hunter. Elephant Hunter. Elephant Hunter. He had earned the title Elephant Hunter, and he had also earned the title Dakshina Patada Chakravati. So Devaraya II, he had earned the title Elephant Hunter as well as Dakshina Patada Chakravati. Dakshina Patada Chakravati means the Emperor of South. The Emperor of South. Dakshina Patada Chakravati means the Emperor of South. So now just listen to me. Just listen to me now. I will say regarding the Devaraya II. So Devaraya II, one of the most important or the prominent ruler of the Vijayanagara, Sangama dynasty. So he had earned the title Elephant Hunter and Dakshina Patada Chakravati. Dakshina Patada Chakravati means the total South India was under the control of him. Not only South India, even the kings from Sri Lanka, the kings from Malaysia, Indonesia were paying tribute to him. So this is said there. So here, so Devaraya II defeated the Gajapatis of Orissa. They were having a frequent war with the Orissa. So he defeated the Gajapati Kapilendra of Orissa and seized the Kondavidu fort. By suppressing the regional leaders. So many regional leaders, he had been suppressed the regional leaders in the border. He expanded the kingdom up to Krishna River in the north. He expanded the kingdom up to Krishna River in the northeast and defeated and he also defeated the Kerala ruler and received royalty from Kerala and Sri Lanka. He received royalty from Kerala and Sri Lanka. Complete South India was under the control of him. Defeated the Kerala ruler and received royalty or tribute. Now in Kannada, Kappa Kanike anta helthiva. So he received a tribute or royalty from the South Indian land, from the Kerala, even from the Sri Lankan king. So this reason he had earned the title Dakshina Patada Chakravati. So in English it has been called as the Emperor of South. Through these conquests of Vijayanagara, empire extended from Sri Lanka to Gulbarga, and Telangana to Malabar. Total South India. I'll show it afterwards in the image. Total South India was under the control of the Devaraya II. So that is the reason he has been earned the title Dakshina Patada Chakravati. So here, according to Nuzi, so here the foreign travelers, some of the foreign travelers, right on. Some of the foreign travelers, they have been visited the court of Devaraya II. So question may come on. Niccolo Conti, Abdul Razak. Abdul Razak Nuzi. So these are the foreign travelers who visited the court of Devaraya II, and they have been praised in their own words. They have been praised in their own words. So these foreign travelers, they have been praised Devaraya in their own words. So here, Niccolo Conti, an Italian traveler, he says, visited Vijayanagara and recorded the interesting fact about the kingdom. He has revealed that capital has been spread across the 60 square miles. The Hampi, it has been spread 60 square miles. So modern, you can compare it to the modern cities, 60 square miles. And next, a Persian ambassador Abdul Razak, has been visited the capital of Vijayanagara towards the end of April 1443. So impressed by the glory of the kingdom, he exclaimed thus, the eye, just listen to me, the eye has not seen, nor the ear heard any place like Vijayanagara. So what the Abdul Razak is saying, now the Persian traveler, he says that eye has not seen, the ear has not heard the place like Vijayanagara. So there is no place on the earth which is comparable to Vijayanagara. There is no place on the earth which has been comparable to Vijayanagara. So these are the words said by the Persian traveler Abdul Razak. Just imagine the glory of the empire. Just imagine the glory of the empire by the foreigners, not by the Indian, in the words of the foreigners. And according to the Nuzi, one of the travelers, according to Nuzi, kings of Ceylon, Calicut, Pegu, Burma were paying royalties to the proud Devaraya or Devaraya. They are paying the royalties. Means today they all are in the foreign countries. Those foreign kings, they are paying the royalties in Kannada, Kappakani, royalties to the Devaraya II. So Devaraya II chased their traditional enemy Ahmad Shah of Bahmani till Bijapur and occupied Mudagal and Bankapur fort. His commander Lakkanna Dandesha took up the successful naval voyage. So the main person in the success of the Devaraya II was his commander Lakkanna Dandesha. Lakkanna Dandesha was the main person, one of the commander of the Devaraya II. So Lakkanna Dandesha, he was the main person in the successful military achievements of the Devaraya II, especially the naval voyage taken by him. So Devaraya II was tolerant towards the other religion. He constructed mosques, Jains, and the Vaishnava temples in the capital. Being a poet himself, he had in his court Sanskrit scholar Dandima. So Sanskrit scholar Dandima was in the court of the Devaraya II. Remember it. Sanskrit scholar Dandima. Was in Dandima, and the Kannada scholar Lakkanna Dandesha. He was not only a commander, even he was a Kannada scholar in the court of Devaraya II. During the period, Veerashaiva tradition and literature saw the revival. During the period of Devaraya II, Veerashaiva tradition and literature was revealed. It was given importance. After the death of Devaraya II in the 1446, the weak kings came to the power. And thus the Sangama dynasty came to an end. After Devaraya II, the successor of Devaraya II were weak. And Due to this, the rule of Sangama dynasty came to an end. The rule of Sangama dynasty came to an end. The rule of Sangama dynasty came to an end. So next comes the most important ruler. So next, it is the after Sangama dynasty, which dynasty came to the power? Salva dynasty came to the power. Which dynasty? Salva dynasty came to the power. So there is no any extra information regarding the Salva dynasty. So next, the most important king. The most important king from the Salva dynasty, the most important king in the history of the Vijayanagara Empire. Not only in the history of the Vijayanagara Empire, in the history of the India itself. In the history of the India itself. In the history of the India itself, the most famous king. He has been compared to the greatest kings of the India. He has been compared to the greatest kings of the India, like Harshavardhana, Samudragupta, Ashoka, Kanishka. He has been compared. Kanishka has been compared. So the son of Narsanayaka, the son of Narsanayaka, the son of Narsanayaka, the son of Narsanayaka of Tuluva dynasty, and his second wife Nagalambike, and his second wife Nagalambike, the son of Narsanayaka. So Narsanayaka's second wife was Nagalambike. Nagalambike's son was Krishnadevaraya. So parents of Krishna. So now we will study regarding the Krishnadevaraya. Krishnadevaraya from 1509 to 1529. Krishnadevaraya from 1509 to 1529. So here, Krishna, first the earlier life of Krishnadevaraya. The son of Narsanayaka and his second wife Nagalambike. Son was Krishnadevaraya. Krishnadevaraya was the most famous king among the Vijayanagara Empire. Among the Vijayanagara Empire. During his rule, Vijayanagara Empire reached the pinnacle glory. Means reached at its highest glory. At its highest glory. So he has been compared. Krishnadevaraya has been compared to the world's famous rulers like Ashoka, Samudragupta, Harshavardhana, Kanishka, etc. He has been compared. He ruled for 20 years. He ruled for 20 years. So he belongs to the Tuluva dynasty. He belongs to the Tuluva dynasty. Krishnadevaraya belongs to the Tuluva dynasty. He belongs to the Tuluva dynasty. When he came to the power, just listen to me now. When he came to the power, when Krishnadevaraya came to the power, so he has to face various problems. He has to face the various internal as well as the external problems. He has to face the internal as well as the external problems. He has to face internal as well as the external problems. The Europeans who had arrived through the new sea routes were establishing their colonies from North India. Mughals from North India were trying to expand their empire, and their common enemy, Bahmani Sultans, they were having the continuous war with them. So this and the Gajapatis of Orissa. So these were some of the problems which are faced by the Krishna when he came to the power. So these were the external problems faced by the Vijayanagara, by the Krishnadeva, external problems. Even some of the internal problems he has to face. The kings of Umattur and Orissa were constantly they have been kings of Umattur in the Mysore region. So they have been rebelled against the Vijayanagara Empire. And not only they, even many kings, many subordinate kings, they have been revolted against the Vijayanagara. All this. So when Krishnadevaraya came to the throne, it was not a bed of roses. It was a throne. Mullina hasige iddage. So he has to, but he faced all the odd. and extended the empire in all the direction. So in his achievement, the main role was being played by the Prime Minister Timmarasa. Prime Minister Timmarasa. Main role was being played by the Prime Minister Timmarasa. So here, before going to the, so one of the historian, Robert Civil, one of the historian, Robert, just listen to me, one of the historian, Robert Civil, Krishnadevaraya was an unparalleled warrior, shaved commander, and the political expert. One of the historian, Robert Civil, says that Krishnadevaraya was the unparalleled warrior, able commander, and the political expert. And the political expert. He won all the wars and expanded the empire. He won all the wars and expanded the empire in the South India. Expanded the empire in the South India. By the time Krishnadeva ascended the throne, the law and order situation of Vijayanagara Empire had worsened due to the internal rivals. Just now I have been said, Krishnadeva has to face both external as well as the internal rivals. So when Krishnadeva came to the power, he has to face the rivals, the internal rivals as well as the external difficulties. So the region between the 1510 to 1520, 1510 to 1521 are they filled with the longer siege, wars and victories. Means from 1521, so in 1509 he came to the power. From 1510 to 1521, continuously he waged the war to extend the empire and to suppress the revolt. Continuous for 10 years he hasn't waged the war. These wars were waged against the Bahmani sultans, Bahmanis, Adil Shahis of Bijapur, Nizam Shahis of Ahmednagar, Qutub Shahis of Golconda, Gajapati of Orissa, and some of the chieftains or Palegaras. In 1509, Yusuf Adil Shah, Gajapati of Yusuf Adil Shah, organized the combined attack of Adil Shahi dynasties on Vijayanagara. Adil Shahis of Bijapur died. Adil Shahi of Bijapur died in this attack. During this time, Krishnadevaraya annexed the Doab region of Raichur. Krishnadevaraya liberated Muhammad Shah and made the kingdom of Bahmanis. Hence, means Krishnadevaraya liberated the Muhammad Shah. Liberated Muhammad Shah and made the king of Bahmanis. And he got a title, Yauvana Raja Pratishtapanacharya. Yauvana Raja Pratishtapanacharya. These wars were destroyed by the powers of Bahmanis. Then he undertook the war on the Gangaraja, the chieftains of Umattu. This part was made, and this part was made as the part of the Vijayanagara Empire. Umattu means the Srirangapatna area, Mysore region, was made a part of the Vijayanagara Empire. Among the war waged by the Krishnadevaraya, the war with the Gajapati of Orissa is important. This war took from 1512 to 1518. 1512 to 1518. He captured Kondavidu, Vijayawada, Kondapalli. There were the parts of Gajapati Rudra Pratape Deva kingdom. Southern parts. Gajapati surrendered and got his daughter married to Krishnadevaraya in 1520. So Gajapati surrendered and he gave his daughter in marriage to Krishnadevaraya. So ಯಾವ ಥರ ಅವಕಾಶ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ರೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಶ್ರೀ ಕೃಷ್ಣದೇವರ ಅಂತ ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ ಒಂದ್ಸರಿ ನೋಡಿ ಗಜಪತಿಯ ಮಗಳು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾಳೆ ಅಂತ ಅವ್ನು ಸಾಯಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನೋಡ್ತಾಳೆ. ಆ ತಿಮ್ಮರಸನ ತಲೆ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಕೃಷ್ಣದೇವರನ್ನ ಬಚಾವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. And next, Krishnadevaraya was not only a skilled warrior but also an able administrator. The Telugu work Amukta Maladya reveals the shrewdness of his export, the political export and the economic export. Telugu work Amukta Maladya. And there were 8 poets in the court of Sri Krishnadeva. They have been called as the Ashtadiggajas. So 8 Allasani Peddanna, Nandi Timmanna, Durjatti, Tenali Ramakrishna and other Telugu. So Krishnadevaraya constructed the Krishna temple at Hampi along with the many of the temples were been erected. They have been facilitated by the Maharanga Mantapa in the Virupaksha temple of Hampi and many other temples. The Portuguese traveler Pace and Barbos have uphold the dignity of the Vijayanagara Empire. Dignity of the Vijayanagara Empire. During the Vijay Krishna Devaraya. So kingdom has been prospered in all the ways. Kingdom has been prospered in all the ways. So it has been said that gold, silver coins, they are being sold in the open market. Today, ಇವತ್ತಾಗಿ ನೀವು ಈರುಳ್ಳಿ ಆಲೂಗಡ್ಡೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ತರಕಾರಿ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಆ ರೀತಿ ಬಂಗಾರವನ್ನ ಮಾರ್ತಾರೆ. ಬೆಳ್ಳಿ ಬಂಗಾರ ನಾಣ್ಯವನ್ನ ಬೆಳ್ಳಿ ಬಂಗಾರವನ್ನ ಮಾರ್ತಾರೆ ಆ ರೀತಿ ಆಗಿನ ಕಾಲ. So the rest we'll see in the next class. So any doubts? So once go through the textbook. So textbook ಎಲ್ಲಿ ದ ಮಿಲಿಟರಿ ಅಚೀವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೃಷ್ಣದೇವರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ ಅನ್ನ ಓದಿ. ಸೊ ಬಾಕಿ ಇದನ್ನ ನಾಳೆ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಸೊ ಪ್ರಣವ್.
Yes, sir.
So whatever the topic I have been explained is clear today.
Yes, sir. Clear.
So once go through the textbook, only you are writing the question answers. Whatever the homework I have been given, only that you have to send me in the evening. Okay. So whatever the homework I have been sent, only 2 questions have been given as the homework. So that you have to send me in the evening.
Okay, sir.
So Anudeep.
Yes, sir.
The topic is being clear.
Yes, sir.
So what I have been said, it is being clear.
Sir.
Yes. Abhiram. Abhiram. The topic is being clear.
Yes, sir.
So only 2 questions are given as a homework, so that I need in the evening. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So rest after completion of the lesson, we will go through the question answers.
Okay.
So just go through some images there. Raichur Fort, Udagal Fort. So Devaraya second. So Salwa.